Hey there, I'm back. Space Invaders is a game that everyone knows about, but I'm still gonna explain it. It's a classic, released in the 1970s where you play as a small ship down there and shoot towards the aliens up there, along with having these barriers that block both your and the aliens' projectiles. Pretty straightforward. It's a very basic game that leaves a lot to be desired, but then a few years later, a game called Galaga released. Galaga was a massive improvement over Space Invaders, although IGN would disagree. Well, to be fair, it is IGN. Galaga had better graphics, better alien design, super sophisticated movement. Two different types of levels where you either have to defeat every alien on screen or defeat as many as you can to rack up bonus points. And you can play as two ships if you get captured and then rejoin with yourself. I don't know why I'm putting this voice on. Super gnarly, dude! But what does this have to do with Warblade? Well, I'm getting there. Moving on from Galaga, we got Deluxe Galaga. This was created by Edgar M. Vigdal. Wow, that's hard to say. And it was massively better than Galaga. In what ways exactly? Well, basically the same improvements as Galaga had compared to Space Invaders, so I'm not repeating them, okay? However, something unique was that every 25 levels you'd get a boss fight. Not the most interesting, but I'm sure back then this was peak gaming. I mean, there isn't even a health bar, come on. Deluxe Galaga wasn't the only game that Edgar made though. He actually made a complete remake of this game under a very different name. I think due to legal reasons? And what was that game? This is where Warblade comes in. That's the name of the title of the video. Down there. Warblade was initially released on the 12th of December 2003, and while researching for this video, I realized how Warblade is almost just a complete copy of Deluxe Galaga with surprisingly few changes. I might even point some of them out. Who knows? The script is still being written for me. I write in random orders and started it over a year ago, and now I'm coming back to add that I don't think I even pointed a single one out. But too bad, this is my video, I do what I want! Anyway, this is a game that I've always loved since it was one of the first games I've ever played. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna make a video about it because it's pretty cool and there aren't any videos about Warblade apart from some gameplay. And more people need to know about it. Because I said so. But before I say anything about Warblade, I need to say this is not a video essay, so have low expectations, please and thank you. Now, it isn't actually possible to properly download the game anymore, since what used to happen after you bought it is you would receive an email with login details that then allow you to download the exe to install the game. However, since Edgar died back in 2015, and the emails were sent by him manually instead of automatically, you do have to use alternative methods to download the game since none of the proper ways work anymore. But that's another reason I actually wanted to make this video, to continue the legacy of Edgar by making a huge video on this game that I've always loved. I actually already had the game since I grabbed it from the PC I used to play it on when I was a kid, but it was an older version, so in order to make a proper video on Warblade, I did have to acquire the latest version using alternate methods. I'm not saying how I did this or promoting any bad activity, but if you want to be able to actually play the full game, the Warblade subreddit is actually quite helpful. That's all I shall say. Anyway, intros suck, I hate writing them, so let's actually start covering Warblade now. Since this is the latest version of the game, version 1.34, and I originally played on version 1.2y.6, I will be pointing out any major differences because I do what I want, and the more content, the better. By the way, I have no idea if this binary translates to anything. I tried converting to denary, hex, and text. I got nothing every time. If you can figure it out, let me know in the comments.
Welcome to Warblade.
That's loud. Hold on. Much better. Graphic setting, very powerful of course, since this game was made 20 years ago and my PC was made after 2008. Little fun fact, I started writing the script over a year ago, back when my PC consisted of an Intel i3 and a GTX 660, so I have no idea what that doofus is babbling on about. Update, that guy is an idiot and wrong. I had upgraded my PC at this point, but it really doesn't matter, to be fair. And as I said, this script is like over a year old. Well, at least for the next few pages and a few random parts or so. I probably should have rewritten the whole thing and also re-recorded the gameplay. But hey, that's too much effort. Do I want to make a new profile? Yeah, sure, why not? Username, obvious, password, not for any of you to see. Oh damn, I'm not used to this menu. For comparison, this is what it looked like in the version I played. I could talk about stuff like the settings and the options down there, but nah. Well, some of that I'll cover way later on, but this video is long enough as is, so I'm not adding the stuff I forgot to talk about at this point. That probably makes sense. Before I get into the gameplay, I have to say that Warblade has 4 difficulties. Easy, normal, hard, and ace. These difficulties only affect the speed of enemies, how fast they shoot, and reduce the chance of any item drops. I'm of course not going to play on easy because I ain't a wimp. Wait, no. That's a spoiler. So, normal it is. Anyway, we start the game at level 1 with these bat-like aliens who will occasionally drop these bullets at you, but they provide literally no challenge. Unless you're playing on ace mode, because what is this? Fucking calm down, please. You shoot at aliens using the control button and move using the arrow keys. Basic controls. Taking out an alien sometimes causes it to drop an item, and these items can go from making you completely overpowered to resetting your weapon to the worst one in the game at any point, so be fucking careful. Anyway, levels 1 to 2 are nothing special, just these aliens. However, level 3 is where things change slightly. We get introduced to a new enemy. It's just the same alien, but bigger. But their shots actually target you, so there is somewhat of an added challenge. Wait, what? These aliens can only take 1 shot, and I'm pretty sure I hit that one. Picking up this bonus here grants you auto fire, which lets you hold down control to fire instead of having to tap for every shot. The speed of it does depend on your bullet amount though, so it isn't that useful early on. Oh look, I collected a rank marker. I'll explain how these affect the game later on. Level 4 is a unique stage because you don't actually have to kill any aliens to get through. But of course, I'm gonna kill every single one because I am a pro gamer and could never miss an alien during such an easy... Okay, never mind, I missed one. Memory Station is also one of the bonuses you can pick up, where you get to play a little memory game and any pairs you find in time, you receive in-game. My memory is terrible, so I suck at these. Okay, maybe not, maybe I'm a genius. Also, the music in this version is different from the other version I played, so I am surprised by that. Or at least I would be if I hadn't noticed later on that I'm using a different music pack! Now let me explain the shop, which, first of all, didn't show up as it should have back after level 4 because you need at least 50 cash for it to appear. Or, more specifically, you need enough money to buy the least expensive item possible. The shop appears after every 4th level and boss, and it allows you to buy upgrades and bonuses for your ship, such as extra speed, extra bullets, better weapons, ship armor, which blocks attacks and gives you a shield for a few seconds, auto fire, and rank markers, which I will get into later. Trust me. Level 5 introduces you to a new alien, and I'm not gonna give them a name since there's no way I'm gonna think of a new name for every alien that appears in this game. Ignore that idiot please, and the different lighting here. I decided to look into the game files and found that every alien has a name, they're just never mentioned. These are called alien_2, but most of the other ones have names. It's just the first 4 types, I think. Okay, I literally did about 5 seconds of research and realized that these names are just Norwegian words or phrases. These are literally just called rockets, and these are blue crabs, so are these names in the files official? No idea. And it doesn't even really matter, to be fair. Anyway, the alien_2. Wait, how do I know their name? Acts the same as the previous aliens. Well, all the aliens act pretty much the same. They fly in, chill while shooting at you every so often, and then leave when there are only a few left. And come back down. That's it. The rest of the levels in Warblade follow the same pattern as levels 1 to 4. 2 levels with a new species of aliens, a 3rd one that includes mother aliens, yes, that's what they're called, and then a 4th level which is either a kamikaze level or a bonus level. Ooh, a random bonus! I wonder what it could be! Maybe a better weapon, or Markiplier, or maybe 200 cash! Alright, cool, 10 cash. Gasp! Triple shot? And a scoop? You know what? This is ep. That alien just killed itself. The scoop bonus allows you to grab up to 2 aliens if they fly down close enough and attaches them to you for some additional firepower. Picking up the same weapon that you already have also awards you with an extra bullet, which you'll only ever want early on in the game, since the best weapon that any alien can drop is quad shot. Level 8 here is a bonus level where it's the same as the kamikaze level. Oh, and the special level earlier was a kamikaze level, by the way. In the aspect that you don't have to shoot any aliens to get through, but unlike the kamikaze levels, here they won't attack you at all. They fly in a set pattern, the more you eliminate, the more points you get, and if you take them all out you get a nice bonus number of points ranging from 10,000 to 10 million. Isn't that nice? Still can't enter the shop though, because I don't have enough money. That doesn't really matter, since at this stage in the game, you can get through the early levels and up to the first boss while only having triple shot, which I've luckily managed to grab. I say luckily, it's a pretty common bonus to find on easy mode. Levels 9 to 12 have you survive against Alien_3, which are these bee wasp looking things with wings. Damn, my rhyming skills are so elite, I could compete. 2 in a treat, now that would be neat. I am never doing that again. More than 10 money? My favorite. We end this section of the game with a kamikaze level and finally enter the shop. Also, any scooped enemies you've gotten so far get taken away whenever you warp, so every 4 levels. First, I just want to point out that this save feature is only available when you play on a profile, and it allows you to save how far you've currently gotten and return to the game in that same place at another time. Why am I explaining how saving works? This can only be done while you're in the shop and a maximum of 5 times per game, so make them count if you're going for high scores. That is my high score on the version I always played on. This took days. I actually did this during one of the lockdowns caused by the vid-19 a few years ago. I think I just ended up retiring from the game because I was doing nothing but playing for 7 hours a day and got bored of it being so easy. Also because the global leaderboards weren't accessible. Oh yeah, there are also global leaderboards for the highest level on the official Warblade website, but it's completely down, so the only way to access it is the Wayback Machine. Anyway, the shop here is fairly basic. I mean, it's just the item and how much it costs, but you do get these nice illustrations and descriptions about them, even though I never read them, and I'm not gonna start now. I don't have enough money to buy anything worthwhile for now, and I don't need any extra speed or bullets yet, so let's continue. Something I don't think I've mentioned yet, because I haven't gotten a chance to, is that when you get blown up, your weapon also gets downgraded. So if you had triple shot, it goes down to double shot. This isn't that big of an issue, even late game, since you can wait until you reach the shop and just buy back your weapon. However, dying also removes super auto fire, which is tragic. Why is it tragic, and what is it even? Just be patient, I talk about it soon enough. So yeah, the rest of the levels just continue on as the previous ones, but you fight different aliens, of course. Fight for a bit, kamikaze / bonus level, shop, move on. Levels 13 to 16 are against Alien 000? Really, the 4th species of alien you fight against is called Alien 000. Well, to be fair, these are just the names in the game files, which, if I remember correctly, are actually quite hard to extract and look at. No idea how it's done since I did this ages ago, but you are working with file types from the early 2000s, so it can't be that easy.
Maybe I shouldn't be playing in normal. Maybe I should be playing in easy to actually show off what this game has.
Wow, I wonder if I put this clip here because of comedic potential. Foreshadowing much? Levels 17 to 20 have these, as I called them...
Alright, it's the curtain motherfuckers. I say that because they look like
Yeah, nice job, nerd. That's what you get for acting like...
Hey, don't call him a nerd, he's you!
Shut up, me!
Okay. No worries, I've been able to collect a triple shot, and even though on my last life, you know, I'm sure nothing bad will happen anytime soon.
Oh, you silly fool. These
Curtain motherfuckers
are actually the first alien to have a given name in the game files. These are, maybe, not exactly sure if they are actually officially called the Lila, which just means purple, but we're sticking with Lila. Lila? Lila. Levels 21 to 24 have... great. Back to no actual names. Alien 003 is what these are called. Guess they're also not special enough to get their own names. Unbelievable. Now, this whole playing against new aliens thing is only up to level 25 because then you encounter the first boss. So, I just have to survive until that, and then it's time to battle. Actually, it won't be time to battle because I have gotten a game over. Also, this music is way more relaxing and kinda goofy than what I'm used to. Listen to this. This actually sounds tragic. Way more fitting than that kooky music. Okay, as was foreshadowed earlier, I'm gonna need to play through an easy first, just so I can remind myself how not to suck at Warblade. But first, let's try and submit this high score to the Online Hall of Fame. Oh, but of course, to do that, you need the serial code you receive in the email you get when you buy the game, which you can't receive because the emails were manually sent by the creator of the game who is dead. So yeah, can't do that. obviously. So, time to close the profile, which is locked to the difficulty you chose when creating it, and switch to easy so I can actually beat the game easily. Also, it was at this point that I realized I could switch the game music to the tracks I'm used to by going into the settings and changing the music mode from mod to MP3. So that's nice. Oh, and the borders for the game change depending on the difficulty you play on, with these for easy, the previous ones for normal, these ones on hard mode, and if you play on the ace difficulty, you get these. There's quite a big gap in difficulty between easy and normal though, as I managed to literally get the best weapon in the game by level 5 on easy mode. Level 5. I still had triple shot by level 23 in normal mode. Although, to be fair, I got lucky here due to a very sneaky method that allows you to get 5,000 money and 5 million points at almost any point in the game. Sure, I could tell you how I did that now, but that's a big spoiler for the game, so it's going in the spoiler section later on. When you pick up this bonus, you enter a meteor storm, which is a minigame where meteors fall down towards you and getting hit by any is instant death. You don't lose a life though, just get sent back to the main game. Point bars, money bars, and gems will appear occasionally, but are usually worth very little. The only annoying thing with this minigame is that the rock formations are very much randomly generated, and unless you have enough speed, it's likely you'll get trapped on one side of the screen and get crushed. But it's a really good risk to take, considering you can lose nothing and win a lot. Well, technically you lose the chance of crashing, realizing this skips the level you're on, and thinking about what items could have been dropped. Like 10 money! Now, something I love about Warblade is the vast amount of secrets it has. One of these being that if- No, that is being covered in the spoiler section. Who does this guy think he is? Anyway, moving on. I also won't be covering all the secrets in Warblade since there's like 30 of them, plus an additional 6 badges you can get for your profile, and another however many ranks you can unlock, and it's more fun to find them out yourself. So I'm only gonna go over some of them later on in this video. I had to use a walkthrough and the Warblade fandom wiki to discover most of them. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there are still some that haven't been discovered, so have fun searching for them. In fact, if you can find any new ones, add them to the Warblade fandom wiki. It's very bare bones, and I added some stuff there, so if you like the game, help out there, cause why not? Now, due to secret methods that will be uncovered later, I can afford the best weapon in the game, War L Plasma. Plasma? Or maybe it's War I Plasma. I can never tell, so just pretend it's an L and not an I. Also, gonna get 2 ship armor, auto fire, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra bullets, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra speeds. I could literally get to the end of the game with just this, only this, nothing more, and I'm only at level 5 out of 100. Not exactly 100, but I'll elaborate later on. Well, the game poses almost no challenge at all. For now. Of course, even though I've got... Hold on, why don't I just check what it's called in the game files? Okay, it's War I Plasma. I'm just gonna call it WHIP for short, because that's easier. And there are definitely no other anagrams that already exist for WHIP. Anyway, even though I've already got WHIP, accidentally flying into any dropped weapons means I'll be downgraded to them. I cannot tell you how many times, because I never counted, not because it's a lot, that I've been past level 90 and I stupidly swerved and picked up single or double shot. And at that point, the run is practically hopeless. For now, I'm just gonna speed through to get back to where I was in normal mode. But before we do that, I'm going to finally talk about rank markers. These are collectibles that are dropped by these mother aliens, yes that's what they're called, and the bosses. There are 7 colors of rank marker, and they fall at different speeds, red being the slowest and pink being the fastest. Once you've got at least one of each color, after you warp, you'll get a higher rank. So look out for them, or else all the cool kids are gonna make fun of you for only having the ensign rank. Well, you can also buy them in the shop, but be careful, as something terrible might happen, and I'm not gonna elaborate, because it's a secret. Also, forgot to mention that if you buy autofire, you lose it the next time you visit the shop, so if you want to keep it, you need to rebuy it. In Warblade, you also have this time bar on the side which can be increased by grabbing the extra time bonus or buying extra time in the shop. I think, and I could be completely wrong, that this increases the amount of time you can spend in each level before the hurry up mothership appears. This will fly across your screen until you finish the level, shooting more and more homing missiles every time it goes past. Oh, also that thing there was the money ship. Destroy it and it drops a bunch of cash. No idea how it works, just appears sometimes. Moving on. It's me, I'm back. Once again, don't listen to this guy. While researching some other thing, I realized that it appears after the mothership flies past 8 times, so easy money if you survive. At this point, the game would become way too easy unless, yeah, you accidentally pick up a weapon like I did here, dropping myself from the best one in the whole game down to double shots, which is like playing Call of Duty and going from the Lachman sub, better known as the MP5, down to the Kastov 545. I am a normal gamer and have definitely played Call of Duty. Now that I'm a pro and survived living with double shot, it's time to enter the shop and rebuy whip and, oh look, new game thing that can happen. Yeah, okay, sometimes when you're flying to the shop, you'll encounter this event called a warp malfunction, which is kind of an extra mini level where you gotta take out these orb-looking aliens which can only drop rank markers. Also, I didn't manage to get footage of this happening, but you can get multiple warp malfunctions back to back. Now that I'm back to having whip, I'm finally gonna speed through to get back to where I was in normal mode. And there we go, back to level 23. Just to easily rank up, I'm gonna farm some rank markers here using secret tactics. And apparently missed that green one because I'm blind. There we go, got them all. One simple bonus level, shop visit, rank promotion, and it's time for the first boss of Warblade. Now, the bosses in this game are very challenging, so you've got to be very careful. And it's over. Of course, that's to be expected with how easy it is to get so powerful on easy mode, but for the sake of the video, I'll show more than just 5 seconds of the first boss. I would give it a name, but in the game files it's literally just called alien_big one, so actually, I will give it a name and just call it Big One, because that's kind of funny. The big one has 2 attacks, but before it uses any of these, it'll go towards you, just for a bit of a spook, then back off. The first attack is these blasts, which the big one will use on the left side of your screen, then the right, then the left, then the right, then the left, you get it. And the second is these small pellets that will appear every so often and float towards you. These attacks just play on a loop until either you lose or defeat the boss. I mean, that's kinda obvious, or maybe it's not, who knows. Maybe if I didn't say this, it'd be a poor person out there who thinks the big one does each attack once and then leaves Warblade to join the first FNAF game and becomes a jump scare there instead. Anyway, after you defeat the boss, you warp to the shop and then the cycle continues. 24 levels and a boss, and apart from new aliens every few levels, it's the same thing over and over. Now this might sound a bit repetitive, but surprisingly enough, it doesn't feel that way. The way aliens fly onto the screen on every single level is different, I think. And later on, it gets quite unique, which is a synonym for different. Sure, once you know all the tricks to make the game mindlessly easy, it's less challenging to get to level 100. So it's a good thing I'm keeping most of the secret until later on. It's much more enjoyable when you don't already know everything. Something I can actually mention is the massive list of secrets this game has. Well, not massive, just big. How big exactly? You could just check the Warblade wiki, but don't. That's cheating. Discover them by playing the game. And by that I mean just buy them in the shop. Some of them you even need to decode, so fun little game. Sure, I'll discuss a few, but the rest are for you to find. Like this one. If you end a game with a high enough score, you'll start the next one with some nice additions like some starting money or a better weapon than single shot. I'll elaborate more on this by going into what specific high scores give certain bonuses in the spoiler section, since I'd consider any more info at least a bit of a spoiler. Before I move on to the next section of the video, I need to check if there's anything important that I haven't covered yet. Oh yeah, the bonuses! I talked about a few, but I'm just going to cover all of them right now. The letters. If you collect an E, X, T, R, and A, you'll get an extra life. If you already have the max amount of 4 lives, you'll get a nice bonus instead. A B gives you an extra bullet, letting you fire faster, and an S gives you extra speed, letting you move faster. The shield. This protects you and any scooped aliens from being hit by any projectiles for a set amount of time, and it doesn't disappear after just one hit. The weapons. Each weapon sets your firepower to the one you collect. You can only find single, double, triple, and quad shot, so be careful not to pick these up late into a game. The scoop. This grabs nearby aliens and uses them to increase your firepower. They do disappear when warping, unless if you have a certain secret item that I can't remember if I've mentioned yet, or kept a secret until the spoiler section later on. so it's staying unnamed for now. The smart bombs. These either turn all aliens into money or into gems. You can actually bring all the gems towards you if you hold down the down arrow on your keyboard. Also, if you collect 100 gems, you'll enter a gem drop. This is similar to a meteor storm, but only large gems fall instead of meteors. The multipliers. They multiply your score by either 2 times or 5 times for a set amount of time. Meteor Storm. A small minigame where you avoid falling meteors and can collect extra points, gems, and money. If you complete it with a high enough speed, you'll be rewarded generously. The random bonus. It gives you a random bonus, obviously. Worth grabbing early on, but a big gamble far into the game as you could get a massive weapon downgrade. The suckers. These downgrade your weapon, but if you collect 3 of the same colour, you might find that it's worth it. Please keep watching. Extra time. It gives you more time in a level before the hurry up mothership appears. Still not 100% sure about that, but possibly spreading misinformation is fun! Bad for certain activities, but good if you happen to have a weak weapon on higher levels. Rank markers. Collect all 6, and after leaving the shop, your rank increases. There is a max rank you can achieve, but this can be increased by doing a lot of secret stuff. Also, buying a rank marker from the shop after having all 6 will introduce a new one into the mix. Wow, I can't believe that rhymed! Time to not make another song again. I said I would never do it again, and my word is my bond. Isaiah 55:11. Money. This has 4 different values. 10, 50, 100, and 200. This is important to buy items from the shop, so you never want to miss these. Well, now that I've covered all the bonuses the game tells you exist, how about some of the secret ones? Like the time travel bonus, which lets me move this section to the spoiler section of the video. God, this script is a mess. It's good that time travel exists and I can fix it. At least a little bit. There, I'll keep a few of these bonuses here, just as a treat. Auto fire lets you fire your weapon by holding down control instead of pressing down for each shot. This is dependent on your bullet count, so the higher that is, the faster you'll shoot. Memory Station is a minigame where you search for pairs of items and keep the ones you find. This can also be skipped by holding down the right mouse button. The heart gives you an extra life when collected, and when at max lives, gives you a lot of points instead. And ship armor, which will protect you against a single hit, so it's always worth having at least one of these. Apart from the main gameplay you experience in Warblade, there's also 2 additional game modes, 2-player and time trial. Well, technically there are 2 2-player modes, but just watch, I'll talk about them both. But first, a word from our sponsor. 9 words, actually.
Can we get a shout out for everyoneHD?
Very cool, Mr. Films. Now back to the video. In 2-player mode, you play through the game as normal, but with 2 players. Obviously. Why am I even saying that? It's obvious from the name. Oh my god, I'm dumb. Anyway, there's 2-player and 2-player duel. In 2-player, you switch between each player when the other dies. So you start as player 1 at level 1, and when you lose a life, the game switches to player 2 and starts back at level 1. Then when player 2 loses a life, you switch back to player 1 at the level they were at, and when player 1 loses a life, I think you can figure it out from there. Additionally, when switching between players, the aliens on screen freeze in place for a bit and you're actually able to shoot at them during this. The ship that player 2 uses also has a different design from the main ship. When both players run out of lives, the game ends, you enter each other's names, and you go on the leaderboards. In 2-player duel, both players play from level 1 at the same time. Also, I should mention that both 2-player modes are only playable if you have a keyboard with a numpad, since player 2 always controls with the right control button and arrows on the numpad. So take that, 60% keyboard havers! Having a keyboard with a numpad is now legally better! Now, even though having 2 players on screen at a time can help with taking out aliens, as seen here in level 2 since that's the only example I can show when playing with myself, haha, minigames can only be played by the player that collects the bonus that grants them. So, you don't get both players in a meteor storm or a memory station, but that second example can obviously just be circumvented by having the player who isn't in control help memorize the items and find pairs. However, in 2-player duel, the game only ends when both players run out of lives, and whoever has the most points will be declared the winner. In this case, I won. Definitely not just because I was playing as both players. Moving on to wait a second. Rewind the footage a bit. There. No way. Hold on, let me check. Okay. Okay, F9. Oh. Alright, so I guess you don't technically need a numpad to play the two-player modes. So having a keyboard with a numpad is just illegally better instead. Whatever. Let's just move on from this. For the time trial game mode, the controls are the same. Arrows for movement and control to shoot. However, the level layouts are different, brand new and reused aliens show up, there's no shop, and you have a time limit of only 3 minutes to get the highest score you can. On my first try, I actually managed to get over 7 million points, which I think is pretty decent. In here, your only weapon is, well, I don't know what it's called, but it's just these green things. Come to think of it, it kinda just looks like a green whip, so maybe that's what it is. I'll only cover the first 5 levels, even though there are 15 to play through, since the furthest I ever got was 11, and the rest can be a secret for you to play yourself. Level 1 has... okay, this is gonna be a lot. Level 1 has Alien Time Trial 1 and Alien Time Trial 3K, Level 2 has Alien Time Trial 2, Level 3 has Alien 3, Level 4 has Alien Time Trial 3, Alien Time Trial 3B, and Alien Time Trial 3C, and Level 5 has Brown Crepes, Little Roy, and Lilla Mac. Continuing. Unlike the main game, Time Trial has only a few bonuses. These are extra speed and bullets, 2x and 5x score multipliers, the scoop and the shield, mirror mode, drunk mode, the gem bomb, and extra bullet speed. Autofire and super autofire can be unlocked, but I'll cover how to do that, along with many of the game mode secrets in the spoilers section. I also promise that the section is probably, hopefully, not being way too overhyped, so you should definitely stick around for it. Geometry Dash is a game. That's all the detail you're getting from me. Anyway, Warblade got remade in it. Thank you, Alex1304. Wow, you must be really old. First of all, this level was released when I was already done with like 80% of the video, so that's why this intermission is being crammed here. Literally just because I didn't want to cover this at a random point in the spoilers section. Second of all, nothing from this section will be mentioned at any other point, so if you don't know anything about Geometry Dash, or you just hate it, you can skip this and you won't be missing any context later on. Anyway, I'm just going to be praising and comparing this level to Warblade, but first, I must do one very important thing before I can start. Press the play button. Okay, this level is already a disaster. The EMV software text is missing a white outline, the binary is in a different font, the box for it is missing a white outline, the text and box are both missing a slight black outer glow, the background gradient colors are different with the original game ranging from CD051D to FFFFF, while the remake ranges from FF3A00 to FFFFF. The presents text is missing in the remake, and the original game by text was not in the original game. I need bigger lungs. This level is already an unredeemable mess and I just cannot continue even looking at it. Put it in the bin, set the bin on fire, take it out, set the house on fire, blow up the house, and put the entire house in another bin. Jokes aside, the intro and title screen are fairly faithful to Warblade. The title itself is pretty accurate, managing to recreate the font almost perfectly, except the curves on the A's, which are facing the wrong way. Hey look, it's a thing I mentioned at some point earlier. Now let me explain the shop, which, first of all, didn't show up as it should have back after level 4 because you need at least 50 cash for it to appear. How neat. As you can tell from the bottom right, this recreation only goes up to level 25, which makes sense considering this is a Geometry Dash level. Of course, since the Warblade soundtrack isn't available on Newgrounds, different songs have been used here and they all seem to fit the tone quite well, so no complaints there. Starting the game, you can tell that there is quite a big difference in the layout of elements, like how there are actually things on the right side of the screen. All elements from Warblade are present here, except the high score display, but that's a reasonable thing to not include, I'd think, considering that it isn't really possible to implement. Your money total, number of lives left, and speed, bullet, and time amounts is still on the left, while your current level and rank have been moved to the right. I have no opinions about this and I'm simply just stating it in case you can't see the video you're watching. The alien designs and level layouts are quite accurate and follow the same structure as Warblade. The only big outliers are levels 17 and 18, where the
Hurts and motherfuckers
don't go down in rows of 2 or 3. Warp malfunctions also don't seem to happen during warps between levels, but I only played through a few times, so maybe I was just unlucky. That's it for the gameplay really. In terms of the bonuses you can collect, some are missing, like Memory Station, and a few I can't talk about yet. Oh, and this death late into the game was totally on purpose and just because I wanted to show off the game over screen. Haha. Yeah. And it has a few differences. I'm sure you could point them out yourself, so I'm just not going to. Before getting to the boss, it's just a time to talk about the shop. The design is similar enough with, you guessed it, a few differences. Wow, so shocking. Game secrets are in a different place, but to be fair, they work slightly differently here. You also can't buy ship armor, and that's about it. I'm just gonna get fireballs and a bunch of extra bullets and move on. The boss at level 25 has the same mechanics and design. Only thing I'll say is that the small pellets it fires are much larger and tend to blend in behind your own projectiles, so basically it's hard to see them and it's easier for them to hit you. But yet another humongous difference is visible here. The boss health bar is on the opposite side and it's not all green! But who cares? Anyway, yeah, you take out the boss and the game is over. The ending may or may not look similar to Warblade's real ending, I don't know. At no point did I get any of these coins because, haha, that would take way too long. I did try to reveal all the secrets in the shop, but I started doing what the kids call epic fail, so I just gave up, copied the level, and looked in the editor. Yes, very interesting. There was no way I was going to do even half of these. So, overall, this is a pretty faithful remake of Warblade and therefore a good level, and all the comments are just made by dumb stupid babies that don't understand how authentic the level is. Shout out to Alex1304 for making this, follow them on Twitter I guess, and now back to talking about Warblade the game and not Warblade the level. Something I have barely mentioned yet is the music, which is honestly a bop. If you couldn't tell, it's been playing throughout this entire video. Because if I'm going to talk about a game, of course I'm going to use its music. Especially when it's this good. The music in Warblade is composed by Yannis Brown, but before I talk about him, I want to talk about a mysterious person known as Richard Van Dark. When writing this video, I knew that the music was made by Yannis Brown, but I wanted to double check what he's credited as. Composer, producer, music maker? So, when I was going through the text file that comes with the game and got to the credits section, I noticed that apparently the MP3 music in Warblade was made by Van Dark. I found this interesting because I had never heard of this name before, and I was pretty sure that most of, if not all of, the music used in Warblade was made by Yannis Brown. I checked in the game files and yeah, the MP3 tracks were credited to Yannis Brown, just as I thought. This was interesting, something I've never heard of about Warblade. I've got to find out more. So, I started by googling Van Dark thinking it may be some game music company, no relevant results. Then I tried Van Dark Warblade, and I had something. I checked the top 2 results. One of them was from a random channel claiming to have an unused main theme for Warblade that was, of course, made by Van Dark, and it could be downloaded from the official website. This link didn't work due to the website being down nowadays, but I decided to see if I could access it through the Wayback Machine. The most recent capture was from 2020, so I decided to go with that one, and there it was. A download page with supposedly new and high quality music for Warblade made by Van Dark. I went to download it, but that didn't seem to work. Except it did? I ended up somehow downloading an exe called Warblade_music_big. Of course, being careful not to run random exe files from the internet, I decided to open it right away and ignore the warning Windows gave me. Luckily, it didn't blow up my entire PC, but instead it asked me to install the music, which seemed off, but I did. And it gave me an 8-minute long MP3 of the same song used in the first video. The other top result I found was actually a 4-minute upload by a channel called Van Darkian, which I'm 97% sure is owned by Mr. Richard Van Dark. This claimed to be the unused main theme to Warblade, which I believe considering all the evidence we have. The channel also had an unused title theme, but I couldn't seem to find the download to that, and I wasn't risking trying to download another exe to install a song. Now, no offense to Van Darkian, but I am glad Edco went with Yannis Brown's title theme. I mean, this one is just not as memorable or felicitous as the one we ended up with. Not saying it's bad, of course, it's just not as good as the one we got. But enough talking about the unused tracks by Richard Van Dark. Let's discuss the used tracks by Yannis Brown. Yannis Brown is a game audio specialist, as it says on his own website, who has worked on a lot of projects. Some you may know, such as Trove, South Park, and Dragon Ball Z, so quite a variety. Every single song used in Warblade is unique and memorable, from the title theme to the boss theme and even the endgame theme. They're so good that I even listened to some of them. Well, only the boss battle and memory station theme, but they're really good. You can actually find the soundtracks for Warblade on Bandcamp. Both of them. And I'll have links in the description so you can go listen to them. Also, support Yanis Brown and buy the digital album because why not? I did. That was probably the best $3 I've ever spent on anything ever. But do not download it as a WAV file if you buy the soundtrack. Use MP3 because that downloads the tracks with all the details filled out when you're adding them to iTunes or Spotify. Also, I care very much about tracking my music on Last.fm, and you lot should too. It's this site that, well, tracks everything you listen to, and it's quite fun. There's leaderboards, and you can compare what your friends listen to. And yeah, it's cool, and I'm not being paid to say these things. Anyway, now that I've covered the basics of pretty much everything to do with Warblade, it's time to discuss the secrets. Once again, I would highly recommend playing through the game and discovering these yourself before watching this because it's more fun that way, but if you can't be bothered, fair enough. Here you go. First, let's talk about Meteor Storm. Remember when I said this? I got lucky here due to a very sneaky method that allows you to get 5,000 money and 5 million points at almost any point in the game. Well, here's the secret. If you manage to get through without crashing your ship and keep your speed at or above 95% by tapping the control button to keep the bar above the red, you receive this massive amount of points and money. I think you need above 98% for 5,000 money, and anything above 95% only gives 1,000 money, but I'm not completely sure and I'm not checking. Definitely only because I want you, the viewer, to experience more of the game and have fun, and definitely not because I just can't be bothered to spend 15 seconds on the Warblade wiki to find out. I'm just enhancing the game experience. Another secret is to do with hit percentage, which is how many of your shots have hit an alien compared to how many were fired in total. So if you shoot 10 bullets and hit 10 aliens, your hit percentage will be 100%, but if you shoot 10 bullets and hit 5 aliens, your hit percentage will be 50%. If your hit percentage is high enough, you can unlock extra items in the shop. These 3 items are rocket packs, an alien lock, and super auto fire. Rocket packs allow you to shoot rockets that automatically lock onto and target aliens, like the missiles from the Hurry Up mothership. The alien lock allows you to keep any scooped aliens when warping, which is pretty awesome. And super auto fire. Well, you'll see later on, but you could have probably just figured it out by now, to be honest. Now, I believe you only have to keep it at or above 50% by the first time you enter the shop to unlock these secret items, because that worked for me, and then you get to keep these additions for the rest of the game. But if I'm wrong, just check the wiki, I'm sure it says there. Except it doesn't! It mentions that through secret gameplay you can unlock 3 extra items in the shop, but it doesn't even say how you do that. The only place to find out is a walkthrough that isn't even up anymore. You can only access it by grabbing the link in the wiki, going to the Wayback Machine and searching until it tells you. And even then it's still not accurate since I have a hit percentage of 50% and I've unlocked all 3 extra items, but apparently you need over 90% according to this guide. Oh, also, this guide I mentioned throughout the video, it's linked in the description. It is a Wayback Machine link since this page is gone nowadays, but I'm mostly getting information from this one. So this is one you lot are just gonna have to figure out for yourself, since it seems that nobody actually knows it yet. No, actually, this annoyed me so much when I was reviewing the script, I decided to venture on an adventure for the secret of the secret shop items. So, I booted up Warblade and started playing on easy to check if what happened to me earlier was a bug or a glitch or whatever. Also, the gameplay here will be a bit lower quality than it should since I only started recording after playing for a while and I hadn't set up OBS properly. So first I wanted to see if having a hit percentage of over 50% would yield the same result as in my previous playthrough. Spoiler alert, it did not. 90%, 93%, 97%, nothing. I was confused, but went back to check the Moby Games guide and saw that I needed to get to level 25 before my percentage matters. Sure, I guess. So, I got past level 25, warped to the shop, and still nothing. Is the game bugged? Am I doing something wrong? Okay, I might have to enter the shop after level 25. That might be it. I get to level 28, have a hit percentage of 112%, because the laser beam weapon can hit multiple aliens at once and maybe some other stuff, but still no secret shop items. Okay, I've got to be doing something wrong at this point. I go back to the guide and check every mention of the word hidden to see if there was something I was missing, and yes, I was. You have to be on a profile to unlock hidden secrets. This was obvious if I was able to read, but apparently I can't. So I quit the game, make a profile on easy mode, and using an easy profile will make some other features unavailable. I hope that doesn't include the secret shop items. I guess we'll have to find out. So, I start my journey again. Eventually, I reach level 24 and check my hit percentage to see it's really low, 64%. You know what? I'm sure that's fine. I can probably get that up fairly quickly. Level 25 and still no secret shop items. Even with a hit percentage of over 78%, which should unlock at least the rocket pack. I guess you do have to get past level 25 then. So I journey on, reach the shop at level 29 and finally, 2 of the 3 secret items are unlocked with a hit percentage of 80%. I guess that proves that the guide was right and I was wrong. The game must have made some sort of mistake that allowed me to unlock all 3 secret items in the shop when I shouldn't have. Just to check, I keep playing, get a 101 hit percentage, and unlock super auto fire as well. I am never getting back the hour or so I spent on all this. So I guess the lesson is, don't do research. I mean, I needed to do this anyway because I didn't have any actual gameplay of the rocket pack or alien lock. Now I can show how the alien lock works, as expected, and how rockets work on regular aliens and the second boss. Well, you can continue listening to that guy now. I've probably covered something here that he talked about earlier or maybe later. Time is weird, but that's not my problem.
A fun little thing you can do to farm rank markers, without spending all your hard-earned money on them, is play until you're on one of the levels with the mother aliens. It doesn't have to be a level with mother aliens necessarily, but it makes this easier. Oh, and yep, that's their name. I can add 1 to the forced reoccurring joke counter now, and defeat every alien except one of the big ones. You could leave any alien alive, but once again, it's easier this way. Now, just wait. Yeah. Might take a while. After waiting for too long, Sullivan, the hurry up mothership will appear and fly across the screen. If you take it out, it'll drop a rank marker you don't have yet. Quite nifty, right? Although, as I said earlier, it also fires missiles at you that'll follow you until they eventually explode, but they're manageable. For now at least. Since every time the mothership goes past, the number of missiles it fires at you will increase by 1. So if you start getting targeted with 8, maybe consider moving on. But for those of you who are clever and paying attention, you might think, oh, but why would you ever get targeted with 8 missiles if there are 7 different rank markers and a different one gets dropped every time? Well, first, if you suck. And secondly, if you manage to collect each rank marker in order, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and pink, without collecting more than 1 of each, which could take ages if the same color keeps being dropped, you unlock super autofire for free. This is, of course, insanely overpowered, but it is still dependent on your bullet bar / count / amount, so keep leveling that up to max for peak performance. Keep in mind that you will lose super autofire when you die, so try not to do that. Also, just for the sake of using gameplay I recorded, here's 1 second of every level from 26 to 100.
Hey, in case this is too boring for you, I'm adding some Subway Surfer gameplay on the side to keep your attention. Although that takes up quite a lot of the screen, so maybe not. I guess I could just do something here and be entertaining. Oh, I know. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that. This isn't even funny. You know, I just realized this isn't even that funny. I thought this was going to be a funny segment where I just read the Bible or whatever, but I've decided it's not that funny. So, you know what? You're just gonna have to deal with watching the rest of this with no other simulation. Simulation? Stimulation. I don't even... Goodbye. Moving on to some secret bonuses I haven't mentioned. Thank you, green screen time traveler version of me? Like the money doubler. This one is very rare, but doubles your money when collected, so it's really good, especially when you're already wealthy. The F bonus will freeze every alien on screen for a set amount of time, allowing you to fire at them without the risk of being completely obliterated. Mirror mode will duplicate your ship, with the second one appearing on the opposite side of the screen and moving in the opposite direction your main ship moves in. I have no idea which one you should try to avoid getting destroyed, but just keep both safe. Except I do. If either one gets shot, you're dead. Yeah.
Drunk mode will invert your controls for some time, moving you left when you try to move right and move you right when you try to move left. A bit annoying, but not that terrible, and possibly needed for a certain secret I shan't reveal. And finally, extra bullet speed. These will make your bullets move faster, but this bonus only becomes available after you pass level 100. A small fun fact about the game past level 100 is that each of the levels are flipped horizontally. A simple example is level 4 and 104, where the aliens kamikaze on the opposite side of the screen. Also, every 100 levels, everything in the game moves faster. This includes aliens, their projectiles, and meteors in Meteor Storm. It's not noticeable right away at level 101, but by level 301 or 401, you can really see the difference.
Although, if you save and leave your game, when you come back, everything will be back to pre-level 100 speed. Probably not an intentional feature, but it is in there.
Although that's every bonus you can encounter while playing, there is actually one that doesn't appear in the game, but it's still present in the game files. And that's this one. Looks like a shower bonus? Maybe it would force you to take a shower before you continue playing, which would be pretty difficult if you're a real gamer. I just have no idea if this is incredibly rare and I've never come across it, or if it just doesn't exist in any of the game modes. Another secret that I briefly mentioned earlier was that achieving a good enough high score will give you bonuses when starting a new game. Well, here are the specific details. 10 extra bullets for 5 million points, 3 extra speeds for 7.5 million, auto fire for 10 million, double shot for 20 million, 1 ship armor for 50 million, 500 money for 100 million, 1000 money for 250 million, 2 ship armor for 500 million, and triple shot for a whopping 1 billion points. Getting a high score of 1 billion points will take at least a few hours, but unlocking other secrets during the run will help quite a bit. For example, collecting 3 green suckers will unlock ×2 and ×5 multipliers appearing during meteor storms, and since completing one with a high enough speed percentage grants you 5 million points, the multipliers boost that a lot. This is because multiplying is a basic arithmetic operation that adds a number to itself a repeated amount of times. For example, 5 multiplied by 2 is the same as 5 plus 5, which is 10. This explains why multiplying numbers together makes bigger numbers, which is why having ×2 and ×5 multipliers in meteor storms is a good thing. For more unnecessary maths lessons, you can email my optometrist Tom Vision at tomvision@email.co.com. Something I found during my run to get 1 billion points was that at some point, and I don't know when, the duration of multipliers increased. So early on, you need to get very lucky with where the multipliers spawn in, and you need to practically have your speed at max to get those magical, marvelous, mouth-watering multiplied meteor storm bonus points. But even when the duration is increased, you still need a multiplier, not him, to appear a few seconds into the meteor storm and not immediately. Looking at a comparison of starting a game on easy without a profile or any bonuses versus starting on my easy profile after getting 1 billion points, you can really see how big the difference is, and that's something I just love about Warblade. It rewards you for playing well and actually exploring the game. So, if you manage to achieve this feat, it'll help a lot towards unlocking the rest of Warblade's secrets. Why is that, you may or may not be asking? Well, to unlock every secret in the game, you first need to get the 30 base ones. I'm pretty sure these are all the ones that can be bought in the shop, and something that helps to keep track is having the secret counter. This shows up in the bottom left of your screen and just counts how many secrets you have unlocked in your current game. The only way to get this is by completing level 100 with at least 200 million points, which is very difficult, especially without the starting high school bonuses. I tried a few times and got somewhat close once, but just couldn't manage it. So, easiest way to unlock the secret counter. Number 1, get a high score of at least 1 billion points. Number 2, then try once more and collect 3 green suckers to have ×2 and ×5 multipliers in meteor storms. You can also get 3 red suckers to unlock the gem counter, which is just good for knowing when you're almost at a gem drop, and grabbing 3 blue suckers turns all coins from bosses and money stealer ships blue. In fact, another secret I'll tell you about is how to go beyond the max money limit. When playing memory stations, there is a very small chance that you will find one of these birds. If you manage to find 10 of these, the maximum amount of wealth you may acquire will be increased from 99,990 to 999,990. Now, actually reaching that increased max limit will be incredibly time consuming. You would think the money doubler bonus would make this fairly easy if you just come across it a few times, but no. Turns out, it just stops working at a certain point if you already have too much money. I don't know exactly what the numbers here are, but during my massive run, I tested and found that the money doubler doesn't work while having 490,000 money, but it did work on 399,620 money. Therefore, I'm guessing if you have more than 400,000, or maybe 450,000 money, the money doubler is useless. So just stay under that until you come across one. From whenever the money doubler stops working, you could try getting the 5k money bonus in Meteor Storms a bunch of times, but past level 400, these get so fast that they're actually quite difficult. So good luck. Unless, of course, you save and exit the game, because then when you continue, the Meteor Storms go back to being slower and easier. You see, while getting gameplay for this video, I decided to reach that maximum amount of money, and eventually, I did. It took 3 days. I reached level 1000 and I was still not there. I had to spend over 8 hours of in-game time to do this. Almost all of my free time for 3 days gone. I'm making it sound more tragic than it is, but it did get a bit annoying how every so often I'd get hit or the mystery bonus I'd pick up was a sucker. And then I'd have to spend over 3,000 money in the shop to buy back whip and some ship armor. Oh, and the time I somehow died once and on top of whip and ship armor, I had to rebuy super auto fire. Sure, I could have farmed rank markers and collected them in order, but this was before I'd even unlocked the higher money cap, so it didn't even really matter. Also, I had to waste 100,000 money once I had unlocked it, because I grabbed a money doubler before I had a chance to record myself going over the old limit. So this clip here cost me almost $100,000. I only said dollars instead of money this time so someone can use it out of context. Anyway, time for another epic tale. The last 10,000 money. Approximately. I saw that I was at 990,830 money and decided I have to record this final stretch and make an epic story about it. And so I clicked the start recording button in OBS and continued playing. Ugh, an orange coin? That's only worth 50 money. That's almost nothing. I need Meteor Storms or the money sucker since each of them give about 5,000 money each. I must journey on. Nothing special for ages and ages until... What's this? A new rank is available! But how is that possible? I don't recall doing anything specific to unlock this. Little did I know, I had just successfully managed to complete 24 bonus levels in a row perfectly, missing no aliens and getting a perfect bonus every time. But never mind that now, as I had found a meteor storm. Oh, bless the heavens, I said. But I must focus. I need the 5,000 money bonus. And so I focused. I focused harder than anyone had ever focused before. You could have even called me the master of focus, because I was that focused. All that focus channeling through me allowed me to... crash. Then I found out that page up and page down changed the sound effect volume. That was neat. I continued on, but eventually a tragic warp malfunction created an encounter with these menacing balls. Luckily, I managed to just about survive the horrifying experience, and just when I thought I was free, another warp malfunction happened. I was actually really lucky this happened while I was recording because I wanted footage for it earlier in the video, and the only other time it had happened was when I wasn't recording gameplay, so this was pretty cool, methinks. Very soon after escaping this terrible attack, I managed to be confronted by the money sucker. I said, "You may suck as much as you want, but I am getting back what you take from me and much more." I blasted it open and took the load that escaped from inside. What a beautiful money load, I exclaimed, seeing that my money total had gone up to 998,380. Less than 2,000 to go. Of course I can, but I shall not spend even a penny here yet, except for that ship armor. Be gone, shop hand! Oh, so that was the rank I unlocked earlier. Very nice. But I could not allow it to distract me. I faced the boss, and after a long and peaceful discussion, it decided to explode and leave me be. I carried on, collecting any spare coins that had fallen towards me, and luckily, I needed under 1,000 to finish. I was so desperate, I had even picked up a memory station, hoping I could find a pair of money that I could claim as my own. Alas, I could not find a single green pair, and Memory Station proved to be hopeless. How long will I have to suffer before I can finish my quest? How much more pain must I endure before this is over? I was losing hope, dreading that the day would never come. But then, a savior appeared! Out of nowhere, the money sucker had decided that it would sacrifice itself to save me! Oh, I had done it! I had reached the max amount of money I could possibly hold! My wildest dreams had been accomplished! I no longer needed any pesky meteor storms, no thank you. However, now a choice had to be made. Do I retire from this game now and end it all, or continue and venture on? Well, all I did was check to see if there were any secrets I might need to be this far into the game to do, and nah, not really. So I retired, finally able to rest. This adventure had been a long one, but one that—
Okay, I'm done. Story over. I finished the run I needed to do for gameplay and other stuff. No more dramatic tales. But with that massive run now done, we can take a look at what my profile looks like.
Wow, a bunch of stats. These things here on the right represent your profile bonuses. For example, my highest set score is over 1 billion points, so I got all 9 high school bonuses. I don't have any time trial bonuses because chronologically I haven't played it yet, so technically I still need to record gameplay for that and complete them. Doesn't matter. I'll talk about the time trial bonuses soon. For the fastest clearing of a level, you can get 1 profile bonus for completing any level in under 2 seconds, and the second bonus for completing in under 1 second. These bonuses increase the maximum amount of time that items can last in game. The first one extends the max duration from 30 seconds up to 60 seconds, and the second one extends the max duration up to 90 seconds.
Also, I think the time bar on the side represents how long bonuses last and not how long it takes for the hurry up mothership to appear in a level. I don't know, research is hard. But I added this part just because I realized how wrong I was all the other times I talked about the time bar. And so people who know better than me hopefully won't complain about me spreading misinformation.
The next profile bonus just represents if you've completed all 30 secrets, which looking at now, 25? I'm surprised I did anywhere near that many.
Of course, the game doesn't tell you which secrets you've completed. To do that, you need to go to the shop, and when you buy a secret, there'll be a small red tick to show if you've done it.
Total levels played profile bonuses go all the way up to 100,000. Damn.
There is a way to add 500 levels to this total though, but it's only possible once every 50 played levels. This can be done by doing the opposite of unlocking super autofire. Oh, what's that? I can't remember how to do this. Fine, I guess I'll just have to explain it to you, person I made up.
Collect 1 of each rank marker in reverse rainbow order, meaning pink, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red.
Even with this trick, it'll still take ages to unlock all the profile bonuses, but that's just how the game works. Also, I wouldn't trust the guide entirely because at a certain point during my run, I would never find any single, double, or triple shoot bonuses, even in the mystery bonuses. And supposedly I need 25,000 total played levels for that, which I definitely didn't do. It might just be a bug or because the guide was made for a different version of the game. This is a great time to mention that if you know something for certain about Warblade, add it to the wiki. It helps.
Anyway, the last profile bonuses I've already talked about. They're just unlocking the secret items in the shop, which I am not covering again. Except mentioning that you need 70%, 80%, and 90% hit accuracy to unlock each item respectively.
Before I go back to the time trial profile bonuses, I need to record some gameplay which should be done now.
So, I've already explained what the game mode is, now time to cover its profile bonuses. Just like in the regular game mode, your highest score represents what bonuses you get the next time you play. For example, I managed to get over 7 million points on my first attempt, so I'll start my next run with a scoop and 5 times multiplier, since those are the bonuses for 6 and 7 million points. The first bonus you can unlock is at 5 million points, which lets you start with a times 2 multiplier, but I just skipped that because I'm that good. The next bonus at 8 million points lets you start with autofire, which only took a few attempts to unlock. After that, it was 9 million points to start with 3 extra speed, that only took 2 tries, and at 10 million points you start with 5 extra speed. I actually got that one on my next attempt, even getting 11 million points, so that was fairly easy. At this point, however, unlocking new profile bonuses in time trial becomes infuriatingly difficult. Not because I have a skill issue or anything, just because achieving better high scores becomes entirely based on RNG and luck. To get to the next bonus of 15 million points, which unlocks starting with super autofire, it took well over 30 attempts, and since each time trial run lasts 3 minutes long, I'm pretty sure I spent at least, carry the 5, square the Pythagon theory, generic maths nonsense, an hour and a half trying to reach this. And every time I didn't get there, it would just be due to me being unlucky and not having enough 5 times multipliers dropping throughout the runs. But after all that hard work, you'd think, well, since you have super autofire now, surely it can't be that hard to go from 15 to 17 million points, right? Well, yeah, it actually only took me about 20 minutes, and that profile bonus gives you max speed in time trial. But trying to get the final bonus of 20 million points was just impossible! In fact, it was while trying to get that final profile bonus, I found that if either ship in mirror mode gets hit, both explode, so I gotta go back and add that in somehow. Just give me a second, Alright, I figured out a way how to add that in early and fix some other past mistakes. You'll see. Also, I eventually just got too mad and bored at the entire luck aspect of time trial that I just gave up trying to get that final profile bonus. It only gives you an extra minute inside of time trial, and I'm not sure I really want that. Alright, before I get to the ending of the video, I think I need to time travel back to some parts and add on stuff I forgot to mention and maybe a few other things. You see, this version of time travel is actually perfect because I'll be appearing in places where the version of me that is originally in the past is actually frozen, so I won't be interfering in my own time stream. I don't need to explain it, you've already seen those sections. Alright, so I'll be right back to finish off this video. Okay, never mind, I think I f***ed up the timeline a bit and my time travel made no sense, but oh well, it's a YouTube video, who cares? It's not a big movie like
The Fall Guy,
so it's no big deal. And that's it. That's almost everything I could have possibly covered about Warblade. The almost is doing quite a bit of heavy lifting considering I excluded a lot of the secrets, didn't talk about any of the story or lore or the few mods that exist, along with a lot of stuff I probably just forgot to include and accidental misinformation. Who knows, I might eventually make another video covering all that stuff, maybe one that isn't over an hour long. But before you go, I'm gonna cover some of the things about the past and future of this channel and maybe some other stuff. So if you don't really care, then be sure to like the video and subscribe, and then you're free to leave and do whatever. I don't know, wait another 4 years for me to make a new video. Well, maybe not 4 years, but at least less than 1 year, hopefully. So where have I been, why have I not uploaded, and what's next? Wait, those first two are the same thing, basically. Well, first, school, lack of ideas, and just general other stuff. The only reason I'm back now is because school is finally over and I actually have time to make videos. And also, I really wanted to make a video about Warblade. For the future of this channel, for those of you who are stuck around, I currently have no idea. I mean, I will be making more videos, I just don't know what the next one's gonna be. It might be a sequel to my most popular video, my first time playing Osu. Or something completely different. I literally don't have any plans right now. So just enjoy whatever video I put out next. Hopefully it won't take almost 2 years in total like this one did, but hey, I can't promise anything. Although maybe I could have saved time on this video by just getting a text-to-speech voice to read out the entire script.
Warblade, the game you've never heard of. Intro. Explosion, falls through ceiling. Hey there, I'm back. Space Invaders is a game that everyone
I mean, it's
knows about,
basically the
but
same
I'm still gonna
experience.
explain.
What else? I have Twitter, where I sometimes tweet, and other accounts in places I basically never use. Second channel and Osu Clips channel, those exist. Rarely ever used, but you never know when one might get a new upload, maybe, I don't know. Also, I don't livestream anymore, actually, but if I ever do again, it'll either be on Twitch, it's for everyoneHD, or over on For Everyone Live, which is also where I keep all my VODs. Check that out if you care. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time, or else! And be sure to comment something like, Warblade? More like Boreblade, because that's totally something I came up with and not anyone else. Goodbye, and it's time to fix that ceiling. Actually, it's insane of me how I moved that chair out of my room, but I didn't even clean up any of the rubble I've just had lying here for absolutely months. Like, what is